I realized when I saw the program and the structure of the program. And when I compared it with other programs, I felt this was miles apart from the other programs out there.
One of the things I can tell you is that when someone hasn't gone through the process with Ranjit, it's a lot more difficult.
Congratulations, Suman, for getting your EB1A Green Card. We are very happy for you.
Congratulations, very happy for you.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Mohammed, for everything you have been helping the students from the Next League program. I think you have simply been very great, actually.
My pleasure.
Suman, why don't you introduce yourself for the benefit of everyone?
Yeah, my name is Suman Mysore, and I am a power transmission engineer expert. And I've been in this field for about 13 years. And ever since I came across Ranjit sir's program, I wanted to join this. And before this, I didn't even know there was something called EB1A. Thanks to Seema and Ranjit sir for giving me that exposure and giving me hopes that I'm also one of those candidates. And then, as Ranjit sir, then I met Mohammed because of your program. And Mohammed gave me more hopes that, yes, you can get it. I really thank you too much for completing this journey for me.
Wonderful.
Coming along with me.
When did you join the program?
I joined in almost end of November, 26th.
So November, we have like roughly December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So roughly 9 months to get EB1A in hand.
Correct.
That's wonderful, actually. What motivated you or inspired you to be part of the Next League program?
I would definitely say I looked at the videos that you had already sent before one joins the program, and I saw that you bring unlike other programs, you bring the person's expertise to light, and it is done in a very organic manner. We're not trying to do anything out of the way. Everything is very natural, and I grow as a person. I realized when I saw the program and the structure of the program, and when I compared it with other programs, I felt this was miles apart from the other programs out there. There was certainly a leap of faith to take, but it finally paid off a lot. I think it was the best decision I've taken in my life for sure.
Wonderful. One more question for you. I will need a response from you. He mentioned about that expertise we try to do in the Next League program, and we try to relate that expertise focus towards the US interest rather than just focusing on the criteria. As a lawyer who has done lots of petitions and helping many EB1 achievers, how do you look at this approach?
One of the things that I really like about working with your students is that you help them first gain the confidence that they are eligible for this petition. And then the next thing is that you get them prepared and you're making sure that they get and accomplish the things that they need in the span of your course to get approval. And I think that what distinguishes you or your students, and I think Suman mentioned in the beginning, is that the quality of the coaching that's involved.
Yep. Yeah. And how do you see a person's expertise being more important than fulfilling just mere criteria? Because we are seeing a lot of RFPs and noise. How do you see that approach in the Next League program?
One of the good things about your program is that you teach some of the case law. You give some rudimentary understanding of some of the legal aspects of this petition. And I think that's where that distinction comes in. If someone just opens up the policy manual and has a basic understanding of the English language, they can read it. But I think some of the nuance is missed. And not even some of the nuance, maybe some of the major points. At the end of the day, this is a visa classification that's regulated by law, by a specific statute.
Yep.
And then you have departments and agencies that come in and try to decipher, give rulings and guidances in this policy manual as to how they are going to adjudicate this law. I think one of the things that you are good at doing is bringing back the students to the law and looking at what is required. If we look at the EB1A statutes, it's looking for something very specific, looking for extraordinary ability, sustained a claim, a substantial benefit to the United States. And then you have the policy manual that provides some of the guidelines as to how to fulfill extraordinary ability, how to fulfill substantial benefit to the United States, how to fulfill. There's case law deciphering how to fulfill these laws. And if you just do a policy manual reading, you think all I have to do is fulfill the criteria. Well, I'll tell you this. You can fulfill all 10 criteria and still get rejected. And the next layer that you need isn't just fulfilling criteria. It's making sure the evidence that you're providing shows these three things, shows that you have extraordinary ability, shows that you have sustained the claim, and show that you will benefit the United States.
And I remember you putting that at the top of the petition also.
Yeah, I make sure it's at the top of every one of my briefs.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's wonderful. Coming back to you, Suman, since a lot of the programs which are there, how do you see this Next League program being different from other options that are possible for people?
I think in this program, Ranjit sir, one aspect that I don't see elsewhere is at the very early stage, we get to see, okay, we either have what it takes to be an EB1A recipient or not. Now, and we don't need to be demotivated if we are not there yet. And this program slowly helps us understand how we can get there. There is a very elaborate coursework that you provided the students of this course. And I think that is a big game changer. And like Mohammed already pointed out, once you go through that step by step, you're almost graduating from this course in a way that you can do it. If you do it from the scratch again, you can do everything yourself and you understand it well. That is something very rare, and you don't get to see that in other programs. And like Mohammed pointed out, understanding case laws without someone telling you how it works is very difficult. You can put whatever you want in AI tools, and that can mess it up totally. I think that is the big difference between other programs.
Wonderful.
Giving hope, basically.
I want to mention something about the difference between, because about the AI tools. I've been advertised for EB1A AI tools. Companies have reached out to me to try to use their product, and these are unique products. And one of the things that I'll tell you is that, okay, you can have a automated process for organizing documents, for maybe help draft something, but you won't get experience through an AI. You'll get information, you'll get autonomy, but you won't get experience, and you won't get nuance because of the human element as well. And anybody who thinks you can replace a coach or an attorney with AI tools, they're missing the whole goalpost. And I would in some way steer people away from solely relying on AI, even though, again, it could be useful. It can make things easily streamlined, but it's not the end all be all.
Absolutely. So, Suman, how confident were you before joining the program? Let us say on the scale of 1 to 10. And in how many months you felt that, well, yes, I think I am going to get my EB1. It's a matter of time now.
I would say not 1 to 10. I was 0. I didn't even know that I was qualified for something like this. Only after going through Ranjit sir's profile, before joining the program, vetting the program, okay, am I doing the right thing? Because it involves putting in a lot of time and effort to build your profile. And you've already done a lot in your career. It's all about how you showcase that and you present it. And Mohammed helped me a lot with that, obviously. And I would say throughout the journey, I'd say 20%, 20 to 25% when I hit the exercise of yours. And then after that, I hit 3B. I think that is another percentage. And then once I met Mohammed, I would say that shot up by another 25, 30% for sure. I was like probably 60. And then started working on complete petition, everything, all the documents, how to present it. Mohammed helped me understand, you helped me understand what all documents we need to have. And we translate the USCIS policy manual basically in our language, like layman's language. How do we get that evidence and how do we showcase that in a way that they understand that, look, these two core meet and they match. And that's why I deserve EB1A. I would say if I was 9 months in the program, then about 7th or 8th month, I got that heavy confidence from both you and Mohammed that, look, I think I'm there, but there's a little bit of last bit of praying that's required for that.
There is always a degree of uncertainty that remains. It depends on your confidence, how you are. That's important. Now, from a granular perspective, how much time per week it takes to become EB1A? I remember, like when I was doing my own EB1A, it took me, no matter what I was at that particular moment of time, I had to put in thousands of hours because everything was new for me. But now people in the program are getting in less than 1 year. What was the priority date for EB2?
July 2020.
I mean, normally I think it would take at least a decade or two to at least 15 years average to take it. So if you want something to happen, something that will take 15 years, it happen in an year's time. In your case, you have to put in some degree of intensity. Now, how much efforts were you putting in? What would be your message to such people who want to aspire and think about it?
Yeah, I think once which criteria you want to target and you then get an idea where you stand on each criteria, gathering the evidence for that initially takes a lot of time. I would say it takes months. For me, I would say I would spend weekly after work at least in a week 40 to 50 hours, because you need to understand we don't want to just gather random evidences that we feel that would benefit this, because you should also watch the videos to understand which is the right evidence. And if I'm putting in 40 hours of effort, then that should be worth that. Otherwise, I'm wasting time and it leads to lack of momentum and demotivation at the same time. I would say once you figure that out, you have all the evidences. Then when you start working on the petition, that's when the real effort comes in. And I'd say I put in easily about 300 to 400 hours. I would say that's at a minimum, depending on your case and how much of profile building you've already done. You might even need more, probably 500 hours or more. It's extremely intensive once you have all the evidences, but getting that, including the evidences, yeah, definitely, I would say 900 to 1,000 hours to
So
get there.
that's very intense. That's very good. And from your experience perspective, what has been your experience working with me?
Oh, yeah. I would say it is definitely an eye opener. And I loved the whole journey for sure. Not once did I feel that, did I make any mistake joining this course or did I make any mistake joining the program? It was 100% worth it. And you have everything given to the students at the beginning. You encourage us to build our profile and get to the point where you can start interacting with us one on one. And I think once you start interacting with one on one, that's when we get to know you, what a person you are, and how I would say you whipped me quite a bit to again and again to redo the petition and the fine tune the evidences again and again. You made me do that. I did not expect that, but I think that is someone who looks out for perfection does. If it was somebody else, I don't think I would have gotten to that extent. And it is because of that perfection thought process, I think I was able to get this today.
No, wonderful. But I think you also have been a wonderful student. I was going through your petition again today after I came to know the approval. I think your petition is a perfect manifestation of everything that is being trained in the program.
Right.
Till the last, I think very interesting thing, and I will come to Mohammed also on this. I think you have included even how the media needs to get addressed in a very peculiar manner. You have used certain metrics to do that. And Mohammed, I think there is something I want to talk about from a legal jurisprudence perspective that you have invoked even case laws like relentless, which is recently Supreme Court judgments. How do you see these cases being relevant in a petition for Suman?
Yeah, again, you're talking about a lot of nuance in the legal field, and which is something I really like about your program is that you're introducing your students to these things. What I'll say is that when I'm drafting a petition, I like to call them briefs. When I'm writing my legal brief and making my argument, there's two things I always tell my clients that I do for them. I tell them if the quality of their evidence is sufficient, and then I write their argument. That's what I'm doing for you. I'm making sure you give me the proper evidence, and then I'm writing an argument. Why am I doing it that way? Well, whenever the whole legal process is based off of this is the standard, have you qualified for this standard? Then on what basis have you qualified? The cases that you're referring to give us guidance as to how to weigh evidence and what evidence leads to a decision. For example, Suman worked a long time on a petition and he compiled a significant amount of evidence. I think at the end of the day, we had over 2,500 pages submitted. There's an INA statute, the INS statute, referring to how EB1As are given. This is a very specific statute. This tells us extraordinary recognition, expertise in the field, and prospective benefit to the United States. There's three branches of government in the United States. You have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. Legislative writes these laws. The law that controls the INA and immigration was written by the legislative branch, signed and put into law by the president.
I remember, like, typically when it comes to awards, for example, USCIS in certain cases have been giving a pushback saying that, oh, somebody got a silver award, you should have got a gold award. I think this is where these things come in, where you very nicely articulated the arguments, which basically thinks in right perspective, and that is how Suman's case gets built up here.
On that basis, the way what we work forward and then apply it to the criteria. For example, if we apply it to the award criterion, we have a policy manual. policy manual tells us what to do. But again, like I said earlier, if you just read the policy manual, you don't really have the nuance or the big picture about what's going on. If you just read the policy manual, you might see award, and the award just says you just have to have a receipt of award. The award has to have a certain level of recognition, and that you have to have been given the award on a certain basis.
Yeah, it does not give a full clarity in terms of the understanding from a legal perspective also. It is just a guideline being given to people. I think you did a fantastic job in Suman's case. That's wonderful. Suman, when you joined the program versus today we see you as EB1 Achiever, is there some unexpected benefit that you got in the program?
Absolutely. For one, it's confidence. I want to definitely further myself in my field because I'm not saying I'm an expert just to be an EB1A recipient. I want to grow in this field. I want to go really far. I want to achieve a lot in this field. And without this program, I don't think I would have had that confidence. I would have just been, I'd say, in corporate terms, just another brick in the wall. I'm just working as a corporate employee. I'll be working as a corporate only for the rest of my life, hoping that I'll get my green card sooner than later. I think with that confidence, it transformed me as a person. Now, even within the company, I can talk to senior management folks with great confidence without being afraid, without shying away, without being worried, okay, are these guys going to impact my immigration? None of that.
Yeah. I'm worried about stepping on toes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stepping on toes. That's the perfect word. Yes.
No, and I also, the confidence you get going through the process. You did a lot of work, and in that I did all the work. I know I can do these things.
Yeah.
Even as like professional development, I think the coaching program that you get through Next League is, even if you're not trying to get EB1A, if you are just trying to improve as a professional, I think you get a lot of that from Next League.
Yeah, I would say EB1A would be, if you look at it as a carrot and stick, then EB1A is definitely the carrot.
We always tell people that this is a program to help to become the best version of yourself, where EB1A becomes a milestone. I think your success is a perfect manifestation of that, because once you leave the program, you will not unlearn what you have learned here, actually. That's the way it is. Now, we come across a lot of people who want to join the program. And it's not about they are not competent, but they are always sitting in the fence because of their own beliefs that they cannot do it. And the typical question they ask is, oh, do you think I can become EB1A? And second, there is a financial considerations, obviously, because it's sometimes 6 months, sometimes it gets pulled up to 1 year, 1.5 years also, some people are there. Now, what would be your message to people who believe that they cannot do EB1A? And some people who believe that, oh, should I be making this amount of investment to stick along? So what would be your message for both the people?
One thing I strongly feel is, if you're already part of this program, you already deserve EB1A. It's just about you not having the confidence or the momentum, or you're very overwhelmed with the number of things you need to do to get there or to build your profile. I would say do one thing at a time. For example, if you're focusing on critical role, make sure you build that first and then move on to the other criteria. If you're doing too many criteria at once, then either you will get burned out and you'll just give up and it'll just be sitting on your plate for a long time, or you'll work on it very hastily. You think you have all the evidences, but that's not sufficient when you get to creating the petition or when you talk to your attorney. I would say be patient, take it easy, do one criteria at a time, and that should really give you the confidence slowly to get there.
And what about people who are in the fence of joining the program? What is your message to them?
Don't be. Definitely join the program. I don't know what may be the reason, but if it's not financial and if you're not confident about the program itself, then I would say don't be. Because once I joined the program, I got the boost of confidence that otherwise I wouldn't have got. You'll see once you join the program, you just have to follow the process. I remember, I think in Ranjit sir's class, somebody had mentioned that everybody wants to be a part of the outcome, but nobody wants to be part of the process. But this is exactly like that. If you get out of the fence, come inside the fence, and be part of the process, and you will be a EB1A recipient.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for the kind words, Mohammed. You and me are co-authoring one report for all the people who are applying for EB1A, which is the probability report. And I think one was a very good case where we calculate the probability of evidence fulfilling the preponderance of evidence for every document which is being submitted. And successfully it has been sailing through. Can we elaborate on that? What is preponderance of evidence and how does this report helps a candidate and helps, even for that matter, USCIS to decide the case?
All right. Again, we're going back to the law. We asked what is the standard of evidence that is requested or required. we have this statute and we know that it needs to be fulfilled, but on what basis, on what percentage, what probability do we have to prove it? The evidence that we're presenting, there is different standards. When it comes to EB1A, the standard is the preponderance of the evidence. And this is a civil case presented in front of USCIS. And what is required for preponderance of evidence is something like 51%, more likely than not. And so one of the things that we were able to do with the Bayesian argument using the statistics was creating a quantitative process of evaluating evidence. Usually when you're presenting evidence, you're like, here, officer, look at this evidence. What we did with this supplemental argument with our petition, with our legal brief, is to provide a quantitative method of weighing the evidence using foundational statistical methods and putting the evidence that we've been given through this statistical analysis. And I loved this process because as an attorney, I'm using logic in argument rather than in quantitative numbers. And it was a relief and a little easier for me when I see numbers, because a little bit of the subjectivity that the officer or a person has can go away. When you provide numbers that are agreed upon, the area of disagreement becomes less. And we used it with Suman's petition, and I definitely think it had some impact. Again, when we have our traditional argument, like as an attorney, basically saying, because of this piece of evidence, then you should reach this conclusion. This provides another layer. It says, because of this piece of evidence, there's a percentage of likelihood that this is fulfilled. Not just if then, it's giving if percentage, then this. That additional percentage is useful, and I don't want to say it's easy, it's a good way to articulate or come to an agreement.
Absolutely. Incidentally, the entire process that we are following is a patented process. What we are also doing essentially is that we are calculating the probability based on the USCIS manual we are taking into account. And since the evidence standard is preponderance, we give the highest preponderance at 70 or 75% if all the elements are there. If not, then it is reduces up to even less than 50. And we don't want to consider any piece of evidence which is less than 51%.
Exactly. Another reason I really like this is a lot of the criticisms of the US immigration system is that it's not quantitative. For example, if you look at countries like Canada or Australia, I've been advocating for maybe something more similar to that in the United States is points. In Canada, if you have a master's degree, point. If you have a certain level of salary, point. It's a lot more clear. And clarity is good to rely on. It's more comforting.
Wonderful. When your American dream fulfilled, you are getting your green card in a few months now. What's your next action plan for this?
Apply for ratifying.
After that.
After this, I think I'll have much confidence to have a voice within the industry. All these days, I did not have that voice. Because Ranjit sir, if you remember in your program, you advocate much for giving presentations, whether it's LinkedIn or actual platform. That speech, that speaking, that oratory skills, I did not have that confidence to build on it. But I think that's what I need, and I know I can do it, and I'll be an industry expert and make myself known to a lot of folks within the industry.
What has been your experience working with Mr. Shire?
I have perfect 3 words for Shire. Within the program, outside of the program, even if you look anywhere, Google, Reddit, you always hear 3 words a lot: horror stories, attorney horror stories. With Shire, it was none. It was beautiful experience. He was very supportive. I've never seen a lawyer or attorney this flexible and adaptable, and he gives you the hope. I know some people who called me during this journey. They said, "I don't think you deserve even," and they just cut the call. Or is very nice person. He helps you throughout the journey, and he gives you the right documents to get there. And I think he's a really good attorney. Definitely.
Wonderful. And Mr. Shire, thank you very much for helping our students.
It's my pleasure. I'm excited when I get one of your students, just because I know it's going to be a lot easier when I get students. My case, I know I put in a lot of work with you, Suman, but one of the things I can tell you is that when someone hasn't gone through the process with Ranjit, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
Suman, any last word about the program or about the people who are wanting to have their green cards but just sitting on the fence? Any last message, words that you want to have?
Don't give up. Think about the freedom you would have, and considering the long wait times with immigration right now. One thing I'm going to quote this famous Indian celebrity Amir Khan. He says, "Don't think of the end result. Go one day at a time. If you always keep thinking of end result, you will constantly get overwhelmed and you will give up eventually." I know all of you can do it. I know you're all deserving, especially if you're part of the program. Good luck and take care.
Good. Thank you, Suman, and thank you very much, Mr. Shire.
Thank you.